We're having more fun with Kamala's party guests, this time in a rich suburb in Dallas, where these four guys sat outside a woman's house, waited for her to pull into her driveway. Then when she got out of her car, they attacked her, dragged her in the house, tied her to a chair, pistol whipped her, told her they were going to cut off her fingers, and they robbed her blinds. Oh, they held a gun to her head, too. How could I forget that? They didn't speak English, so they had to use Google Translate. So they're talking into the phone, and then she had to read the threats while she's got a gun to her head. They stole like $75,000 worth of stuff out of the house. Oh, and it turns out that 3 of them were actually in custody with Border Patrol, and they were set free with a date. Here's your hearing date to come back and check in with us for your immigration hearing. Yeah, like they're going to do that. We're not vetting anybody. We're just letting these creepy creepos into the country like it's nothing. Oh, and this one, his name is Hernandez. That's his name. Okay, so Hernandez has already been in trouble like 3 times with the law already. One of those was a DUI. How's he even driving? Okay, like the news story doesn't even cover the fact that like you're here illegally. Clearly you don't have a license, and then you're driving drunk. 3 days he spent in jail, and he was set free again, and now he's terrorizing people.
But it's men. I mean, I think the real struggle for the Harris campaign is young men, older men, men of color, white men.
I can't even imagine why. You crap on men and tell them that they're toxic and we hate you when we want you out of our spaces for years, and then you're going to ask them to vote for you? What are you, nuts? And seriously, I hope this is true. I hope all the men come and vote for Trump and help save our country and help us remain a constitutional republic instead of a socialist, communist hell that they're trying to create. I mean, I would really rather just go back to the worst problem in my day is that my favorite lipstick color has been discontinued, rather than worrying about the complete downfall of society as I know it. What do you say, guys? Who are you voting for? Donald Trump is promising in his second term to appoint U.S. attorneys who are actually going to uphold the law and to get rid of all of these Soros-funded Marxist lunatics who are just completely disregarding the law and letting crime run rampant in our country for whatever reason. Or I'll probably get some kind of kickbacks. But the way he's going to do it, again, is to appoint better U.S. attorneys. He wants to overhaul the DOJ and the FBI. He's going to launch sweeping civil rights investigations into district attorneys who refuse to prosecute crimes. Also going to find out if they've been using race-based discrimination in deciding which crimes to prosecute. We're seeing it. He's going to order the DOJ to establish a task force to protect the right of self-defense. He's going to investigate police state tactics being used by the feds against Christians and conservatives. I'm all in on this. I really think we should live in a safe society and expect our government to uphold our laws. I really don't think it's too much to ask to be able to walk down the street without worrying about getting mugged wherever I go.
I compete in pageantry to show that there are many different types of beauty.
In the pictures that flood her Instagram, Anita Green looks like the epitome of a strong, confident woman. But it was a long road getting here. The Montana native is transgender and grew up secretly loving pageants.
I think that it's very impressive when everybody in the room is focused on you, listening to your important message. That's what appeals to pageantry to me the most. It's the platform.
That's what appeals to him most. Being the center of attention, self-idolatry, narcissism. It's all about me and what I have to say. And I don't care who I have to step on. I don't care how many girls, real girls, I have to trample over in order to get my place in the pageant, but I'm gonna do it. It's dangerous. It's strange. It's a mental illness. You cannot convince me otherwise. This is so disturbing. And that the news says this is the epitome of a confident, strong woman or whatever. No, it's not. It's the epitome of a man in a dress who really thinks that he can be a woman when he can't. That's all it is. So I was just bopping around the internet and I came across this children's hospital in Portland, Oregon, and they have instructions on there for tucking. So tucking is when you take your little boy's naughty bits and you you tamp him down as much as you can so that way he can feel like he's a girl and he doesn't have any sort of a bulge. There are multiple ways you can do this. You can do this with tape, which is where you just tape it all down as tight as you can and then put underwear on. You can do it with these sort of like tight shaping underwear, which shove everything together. And those come for children as little as 3 or 4 years old. That's what, at least that's the youngest I could find them. Maybe they come for infants too, if you're a real sicko. Or option number 3, these are explicit instructions on how your child can tuck their testicles up inside their body. Yeah, I'm serious. You want to hear this? Step 1, lie down with your underwear halfway up your legs. Lying down helps you avoid losing your balance during the final step. You are now ready to tuck your testicles up inside your body. This is for children. This is a children's hospital. You have 2 spaces inside your belly called the inguinal canals. Your testicles go here naturally when it is very cold. Getting in a tub of cold water can help you find the inguinal canals, as your testicles will naturally be drawn towards them. Step 3, press gently on your testicles with 2 or 3 fingers and try to guide them into the inguinal canals. This can feel strange at first, possibly even uncomfortable. You think? You should not feel faint or nauseated or have extreme pain. If you do, take a break and try again later. Step 4, once the testicles are tucked in, pull the penis back between your legs. If you find yourself getting aroused, take a break and try again later. An erection will make it impossible to tuck. Step 5, holding the penis in place, slide your underwear up so that it holds the tuck. Are you picturing this? You got this all in your head? This is little kids, these sickos. You may need to do some adjustment for comfort. Again, you should not be in pain. If you feel in pain, untuck and give your body a rest. What do we do in America? Kamala went to the border this week. She spent 20 minutes there. There was photographers. It was all about a photo op. You sick, rotten demon. You've been in charge of this for 3.5 years. And then they'll be like, she was never the border czar. First of all, she was. But second of all, then they'll say she was just in charge of finding out root causes. And to that, my answer is, and what did she find out there? She found out absolutely nothing. She's a complete do-nothing, unproductive nitwit. She didn't solve any root causes either. So give me a break when you say she was in charge of root causes. You shouldn't bring that up because she failed there too. So in case you missed it, in 2021, these parents in Maryland had their child taken away from them because they didn't want to transition them. And they still haven't seen the kid. Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. They saw this 15-year-old autistic boy who had tried to hurt himself. And when they came back to the parents after evaluating the boy, they were like, oh, hey, so you know what? Actually, he is a she. And so we need you to start calling him by this other name. Let's say Claire, because, you know, they were anonymous in the article. And Claire wants you to use she, her pronouns. And that's how it's going to be. And the parents were like, no, it's not Claire. That is Stephen. And that's who our son is. And the hospital turned around and said, well, that's abusive. And so they called Child Protective Services and had the child taken away from the parents. Okay, then the next year, after spending time in foster care, the kid tried to kill himself again. And the parents kept trying and trying and trying to get them back. And now, in the meantime, the kid has turned 18. That's how long the child was taken from his parents. He now lives with some non-binary or non-gendered chaplain, which is some total oxymoron because if you're following Jesus, you can't be non-binary, but whatever. And they're suing the hospital, which is in Washington, D.C. And they're suing for $100 million for negligence, for emotional distress, for religious discrimination. And quite frankly, I hope that these parents get every penny of that. Remember last year when the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action in college admissions, so they now can't be racist? Well, now they're also sad about it because they missed being racist and discriminating, and they're complaining about it. The Boston Globe published this letter from a professor at Northeastern University, a bunch of liberal hacks, all of them. But here's what this poor professor is going through. As a Black professor, a psychologist, and a researcher who has studied equity and diversity issues in higher education. I'm sorry to laugh, but I can't, it's laughable at this point. I see how this affects us. Fewer Black students means a weaker sense of belonging for those who remain, and it makes it harder for those of us who teach and mentor to maintain a thriving, diverse, academic environment. Okay, so it's harder to have a sense of belonging. You know, what the unifying factors are what make you belong. If you were smart enough and you worked hard enough and did all the right things to get there, that is why you belong. It has nothing to do with your skin color. Sorry, Charlie. The impact ripples through the entire institution, morale, dips, retention of students and faculty falters, and the weight of creating inclusive spaces grows heavier. Sorry, I cannot feel bad for this professor, because it's just this emotional diarrhea that is just constantly coming out. Why don't you focus on teaching these kids how to think, how to operate in the world without just sitting and being victims all the time? Oh God, it's insufferable. How are we ever going to progress as a country if this is what's going on? The New York Times just put out numbers that last year 76,000 young women had elective breast reduction surgery in the United States. That is a 64% increase over just 2019, a few years ago. Why? They're saying that this is self-empowering, self-love, like a shot in the face to this sexist culture that we live in and feeling you always have to be perfect. So you're trying to like poo-poo the objectification culture by objectifying yourself and cutting off healthy body parts. How did we get to a place where young women hate themselves so much? Because all of this modern feminism tells you that you being a mother is bad. That's limiting. That's being a homemaker isn't going to make you happy. It's an insult to your power to actually raise children who are good members of society. You know, that having a husband is just like having an overlord, not a partner in life, not somebody who loves you and takes care of you. But being a boss babe is going to be the thing that's going to make you happy. I feel so sorry for these young women. I mean, in my generation, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, like I had enough feminist poison. It did enough damage to me and my friends. I talk about it with women my age all the time, and we're all just like, man, we fell for all of that. But thank God we weren't being fed what these young girls are being fed. Plastic surgery on the rise, along with anxiety, depression, suicide attempts. Maybe what you're doing is not working, kids. Maybe try something else.